It's time for superlatives on this Monday edition Christmas where the love is flowing. Chris, I'll let you go first. Although I actually spent time. The game last night was sufficiently unexciting in the fourth quarter that I was able to spend time putting some ideas together for today's superlative. So I'm ready to go. What do you got?
All right. Well, I mean, I've seen this movie before. I think I got to go down to maybe I shouldn't use that. Maybe I should go Who's Your Daddy award to Tom Brady because, like, he's the Falcons' daddy. I think I like that better. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? It's Tommy Brady. That's your daddy, Atlanta, for what he did. I mean, again, down to start the second half. Atlanta Falcons brings them back. I mean, Brady, I thought that was the best half of football he's played in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is another one of those teams, a little like Kansas City. You get frustrated because you see the potential and how good they are. And I'm still not so sure they're not one of the most complete teams in the NFC when you see halves of football like that. But, man, I know the world thinks I'm a Tom Brady hater because I don't say he's the greatest quarterback of all time. But holy crap, the way he's throwing the football right now at his age, I mean, it is special. It was laser beams around the field yesterday. And I can't say enough about that. But just the way he looked, the way the offense looked, and just how they accelerated in the second half. Oh, 17-0. Hey, 17-7. It was 24-7, and they just never stopped. And they just kept answering the bell, and their defense settled in, and they really were unstoppable. But Brady in the second half, as good as I've seen him in a few years, really.
Yeah, and look, they've done this throughout the course of the season.
Yeah.
I chronicled every time they fell behind early, double digits, 17 points. They were down 17 to the Chargers in the first half. They've been down. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. That's not going to work for the Buccaneers in the postseason. They can't count on that. The Packers, for example, down 10-0 they were before finally waking up. They can't let it go as long as they did, although it makes for an exciting second half, which we saw yesterday. First one for me, and I've got several that I like today. This is the Great Work If You Can Get It award. And I heard from many Raiders fans last week who vehemently and strenuously objected to my position that John Gruden is getting a free pass with the Raiders, and if it was any other coach, he'd at least be on the discussion of being on the hot seat. And one Raiders fan very keenly pointed out, I have no problem with you making that argument as to Gruden because you're right, but also at some point somebody's got to say something about John Elway. And that's why I call it the Great Work If You Can Get It award, because he has fallen into a spot where he's never going to be fired until there is an owner appointed by the 3 trustees who are managing the team until they decide which of the 7 Bolin children is going to win this bizarre Willy Wonka contest and become the owner of the franchise. And that may not work. They may have to sell the team. In fact, that's the way the wind is blowing. Until all that happens, whenever it may happen, John Elway's not going anywhere because those trustees have enough to worry about without having to hire a new GM. And who in their right mind is going to take that job when they know what's coming? You've got no job security because at any moment it could all blow up and they sell the team, and then the first order of business is you get fired. So, and look, I got a ton of respect for the fact that they won Super Bowl 50. But my roller coaster has been when he was hired in 2011. I'm thinking, what are the Broncos doing? Nobody's even talking about hiring John Elway for any job in any front office, and you're putting him in charge of your football operation? Are you kidding me? And then, of course, they win the Super Bowl, and I had to eat crow. Well, now I have to uneat the crow because here they are. And it's punctuated by the fact that they passed on Josh Allen, Chris. That's the thing that really brought it into focus for me. They passed on Josh Allen. I know they got Bradley Chubb, but franchise quarterback, pass rusher, there's still a you want the franchise quarterback.
No doubt.
Obviously.
No doubt.
They passed on Josh Allen, and they got to see firsthand what they passed on, and that just really underscores the fact. And look, Hall of Fame talent, John Elway, put a Super Bowl winning team together. But other than having Peyton Manning fall into his lap, what's he done by way of finding a quarterback? And to pass on Josh Allen in a year where Case Keenum was your starter, it's not like you could say, well, we were set at the position. No, you weren't. You weren't. Case Keenum was a placeholder. So if I'm a Broncos fan right now and I've endured 4 straight losing seasons, I would be up in arms about this, and I would feel helpless because none of it is going to change until there's an owner of that team, and nobody knows when that's going to be.
Well, I mean, listen, there's a lot. First off, I would like to wax poetically about your point with Josh Allen, because Josh Allen is, I put out a tweet as I was sitting there watching the game on Sunday, and I said, I asked, is Josh Allen officially in the stratosphere with Rodgers and Mahomes? Listen, I know he's not Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes yet, but I think for like 2020 football and what we've seen through Week 15, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think he's in that conversation with the way that he's playing and the way that team is playing. I mean, I don't know. Do you think that's crazy, Mike, to say that right now? I understand in totality he's not in Rodgers and Mahomes' class yet. I get that. But for this season, in moments where you go, hey, if I need a quarterback to put the offense on my shoulders and make plays and do that, I think he's at least in the conversation. I mean, at least I think you got to give him the respect of that. What he did there the other night on Saturday, that was special. Again, we just saw that Denver defense not let Mahomes and the Chiefs in the end zone like 6 different times in the red zone. And then there was Josh Allen, and I know the Broncos weren't at full strength, but he was scoring touchdowns every time he was down there. I'm not trying to say he's better than Mahomes or the Chiefs or anything. I'm just trying to say it's damn special. And you're right, Elway blew it on that one. Okay, for sure. He's had some questionable quarterback decisions. There's no doubt. And things have not been good as of late there in Denver. You can't argue that. And, yeah, maybe he is at a spot here because of ownership where he's getting a little bit of a free pass per se.
No, maybe. It's not maybe. There's no one in place to fire him. There's no one in place to fire him. And they're not going to.
Well, but he's getting towards the hot seat conversation. I think it's...
Who's going to fire him?
I don't know.
Who's going to fire him? The trustees are going to fire him, and then who are they going to hire? That's my point. Who are you going to hire
I don't
to be
know.
the GM of a team that's about to get sold?
But we're not there. I don't know. You're right. It might not happen yet. I don't know. We can't fault John Elway, and then you can't keep saying that...
That's why I said it's good work if you can get it.
Well, you can't fault... This is the other thing I don't like what you say, though. You can't say Peyton Manning fell into his lap. Everybody wanted Peyton Manning. Elway had built an amazing team that Peyton Manning went, I want to go there because even if I'm bad and the worst quarterback in football, I think we can win a Super Bowl. So there's not a lot of teams that have had first and second seeds in the playoffs and been to the Super Bowl twice in the last 8-9 years. Broncos are one of them. In fact, I think it's only them in Seattle. So he did get a little free pass because of that history too, I think.
I think the franchise quarterback Hall of Fame club helped him speak a language to Peyton Manning that got Manning to sign on, right? And there were some rough spots. Definitely. Between a couple of alpha males who were trying to run the team, and but it all worked out in the end. They got their Super Bowl as Peyton Manning walked off into the sunset, and the fumes of that may be keeping. But again, nobody's in place to fire John Elway. They would be in much worse shape if they had to scramble to go hire a general manager for what may be the final years of this group before they face the reality that they are going to have to sell the team. And that reality is coming closer and closer. And if I'm a Broncos fan, I just want it to happen. Let's move on. Let's get on with it, and let's start building toward a brighter future. All right, Chris, what do you have next?
Well, I think my next one, I'm going to go to the we haven't talked about this game, the Boomer Sooner Award. I don't like Oklahoma. They tortured me in college. But, damn, those 2 quarterbacks yesterday in that Boomer Sooner matchup was fun to watch with the Eagles versus the Arizona Cardinals. It really was. First off, I think what I've come to the realization is that the Eagles are going to be trading Carson Wentz this offseason the way it looks. That's going to happen. I mean, Jalen Hurts, as much as I question his ability to throw and be consistent that way coming out in the NFL draft, his running is more special than maybe I gave it credit for. And something we talk about with Tony Dungy a lot, when you can run that way, it simplifies defenses to where maybe the fact that you're not a top-tier thrower yet, it still can be overcome because you're getting great looks because they're worried about your defense. And if you're open, he's going to hit you. I mean, he makes plays, takes care of the football. He's like the opposite Carson Wentz is this year. So between him, that was awesome for Jalen Hurts, even though they lost. And then, hey, Arizona, they got back on track on the offensive side of the ball. Kyler Murray's arm looked as live as I've seen it look over the last few weeks. And then making playmaking ability and just getting the ball into DeAndre Hopkins' hands again, who's kind of disappeared in that offense. You know, it was a fun game to watch, but it was fun to see Arizona's offense kind of get jump-started again and see if they can make a little run here down the stretch.
Well, and look, the point we made last week, Kyler Murray had been about 4 weeks removed from injuring that shoulder against the Seahawks, so he was getting to the point where we should expect him to be healthy. He's playing through it. It is going to get better on the fly, and it did. And that whole Carson Wentz angle, kind of a strange bookend of Sunday Splash reports from Shefty. Last week he reports the Eagles are going to keep him. This week he reports that Wentz wants out. Clearly, the first report came from the Eagles, who are trying to maximize trade leverage, and step one in maximizing trade leverage is saying we ain't trading the guy.
Yeah.
Yesterday's report clearly came from Wentz's camp. They're trying to keep the Eagles from playing a game with Wentz. And if you are going to be traded, you want to be traded for less. You don't want your new team to give up a Herschel Walker ransom to get you. Then it makes it harder for you to be competitive there. And there was a report last night contradicting Schefter's report. This came from the AP. Rob Motti, who covers the Eagles and works for the AP and has a lot of Eagles stories. He said Wentz doesn't want out and that Wentz hasn't told anyone that. Well, here's how you harmonize it. Wentz hasn't said anything, but his agents have. That's how it happens. Wentz is trying to exert leverage over the situation. He doesn't want to languish on the bench in Philadelphia if Jalen Hurts is the guy.
No.
And he doesn't want the Eagles playing games with him like they tried to play the game with Nick Foles. Well, we're going to use the franchise tag and then try to trade him until they realized they couldn't trade him, so then they just let him walk away. Wentz wants to be sure that he gets a full and fair chance to go where he wants to go. This is part of that effort to apply pressure to the Eagles to make sure he gets what he wants.
Agreed. I mean, I think Wentz needs to go all in on that. You know, if I'm advising Carson Wentz, that's what I would tell him to do. You don't want to be there anymore. Just make it be known. Lower your trade value. That's not their fault they drafted a quarterback in the second round. It's not your fault, Carson Wentz. It's not your fault. They drafted a guy in the second round. Tough. So I would start doing that right now because you're right. You know, you don't, as a player, you don't want the team that's going to trade for you, like you said, to give up a big part of their football team to get you. The other thing, too, it takes a lot of teams out of the trade market when the asking price is so high. By lowering your price, you bring in a lot of teams that, maybe didn't have the assets or want to do it. So if I'm Carson Wentz, I go full blown. I want out of Philadelphia, blow this up. He's in a no-win situation anyways. Carson Wentz, his agent, if you're listening, you're in a no-win situation. Philadelphia, the city, doesn't want you anymore. I'm sorry. It's screwed up, but they don't. And it's going to take him to be like an MVP 3 years in a row for them to finally go, oh, yeah, he is a good quarterback. So if I'm him, I want out of there, and he should make it happen.
The only risk in taking that position is that your next team may be leery that they're eventually going to be on the wrong end of that. But you know what? To get back to the point from the top of the segment, it didn't stop the Seahawks from giving up 2 first-round picks plus to get Jamal Adams, knowing full well that at some point Jamal Adams could turn that same ire that we saw directed to the Jets toward the Seahawks. But that's what a next Carson Wentz team would at least have to worry about a little bit, unless they fully understand it the way we do, that this is just his way of trying to get to a new situation without that new team having to give up a lot. If anything, the new team should be thankful that he's doing it because it's reducing potentially the price they're going to have to pay to get him. Next one for me, the deja vu all over again award goes to the Texans and the Colts. Think about where the Colts would be right now if they didn't have some weird, fluky, dumb thing happen as the Texans were driving to win or tie twice in the last 3 games. It was 26-20 a couple of weeks ago. There's that weird shotgun snap. When do you ever see a weird shotgun snap in the NFL? You never see it. Nick Martin had a weird shotgun snap, and that killed the chance of the Texans to beat the Colts. And then yesterday, the Texans down 7, 27-20, not 26-20, driving, and there's a fumble into the end zone, and that's that for the Houston Texans. And you flip those games. You just take one of those games away, and all of a sudden the Colts are in a lot more tenuous position in the AFC. You take both of them away, and they're on the outside looking in. And it just shows you that even when a team is good, there can be, you can just focus in on this or that, and it's like, boy, if that didn't go your way, you're done. And that's the thing about the NFL. There are so many little fluky bounces of an oblong ball that will determine whether you're 10-6 or 8-8. And if you're 8-8, you ain't getting in. And if you're 10-6, you are. And it's just crazy. It's maddening. And all the effort, all the time, all the sweat, all the planning, all the hours of work by the coaches and all the time spent working out, a team's fate can so often come down to a bad call, a bounce of the ball, and you're either in or you're out based on that.
No, it is. It's heartbreaking. It really is. And it's like, to me, again, the Colts are doing a lot of good things, definitely. The thing that jumps out to me about that game more than anything is, Deshaun Watson. He's so freaking awesome. I mean, he's the reason they're in the game. He's the reason they got a chance. He's the ultimate reason why you can't give wins and losses always and blame it on the quarterback with losses. You can't do any more than Deshaun Watson did to win that game yesterday. I mean, he plays at such a high level. His ability to avoid the pass rush and make big throws all game long is just remarkable that way. And, yeah, the Colts are very fortunate that they escaped with a win there. That was big for them with everybody else winning the AFC. My next one is it happened, Mike. It happened. It happened. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It happened.
It happened.
What?
He won't be back. He's dead. He went into the lava, and he is dead now. The Terminator's dead. It's official. It took 20 years, but damn, somebody in the AFC East finally shot the damn Terminator. I don't know what they found or what kind of weapon it was. Oh, that's right. They got Tom Brady out of there. Either way, that game yesterday, New England Patriots, offensive struggles as usual, playing through their defense, doing all that. But really the star of the show is Miami and what Brian Flores has done there with that football team. Their defense, they're one of the better defenses in football. They make plays every week, and then they just mash the Patriots in the run game. I give them a lot of credit. The Patriots tried to play the old, hey, we're going to put a lot of people at the line of scrimmage. You don't want to run into all these people. You want to throw the ball with Tua here. And Brian Flores and Shangaley, I give them the credit. They didn't bite. They didn't take the bait. They said, no, we still don't think you can stop the run, even though you got a lot of guys there. We're going to still run it. And they ran it for success. And big win for them. I mean, just the attitude of the Dolphins, the toughness they play. Tua, again, not spectacular, but makes plays and knows how to manage the football game. And is a big win for the Dolphins and Brian Flores.
This may be a multi-year thing for the Patriots, too. They've got Tua in Miami. They've got Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Yeah.
They may have Trevor Lawrence still with the Jets. We were talking about this last night. Do the Patriots lay down Week 17 for the Jets to ensure that Trevor Lawrence goes to Jacksonville? Coach Dungy actually seemed to endorse the idea of putting Jarrett Stidham in the game, putting some backup offensive linemen in the game, evaluating some young players, and just letting nature take its course. And if you lose to the Jets, you lose to the Jets, and you don't have to deal with Trevor Lawrence for the next 10 years.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, it really is. I don't see New England being that way as far as, like, packing it in, but they might have that Week 17, hey, let's see what a few of these guys got, a little extra film to evaluate. And maybe it does set up that way, just conveniently for them. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. It really is. And I don't know. Hey, I was going to say that when we were talking about that game before, just while we're on it real quick. Like, did Sam Darnold, was that a good thing for him that they won yesterday? Did that keep him in New York? Maybe he should have thrown a late pick and been like, I don't want to be here next year. I want you guys to take Trevor Lawrence. I want out of this place.
Well, the worst-case scenario for him is to still be there under the fourth year of his guaranteed contract and not be the starter, or at least be the placeholder until Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence take over, because you've already got the money fully guaranteed. If you don't find a trade partner, you just keep him. So, look, the Jets players wanted to avoid they wanted to avoid desperately going 0-16. You don't want that on your resume. Jets fans, we're happy to trade 0-16 for Trevor Lawrence.
That's a great
Lawrence
cover there.
That's a great cover, but you know what? A lot of people were asking on Twitter, what does it mean? Because they don't know who Lawrence Welk is. The Grinches stole Trevor. But hey, I still think the players, the coaches, definitely the coaches. Adam Gase doesn't want 0-16 on his resume. The players don't want to be associated with a team that went 0-16. Even though the Browns have done it and the Lions have done it, you don't want to be what would have been the last 0-6 team, assuming the NFL goes to 17 games next season. All right, I got one more real quick one, and this goes back to our top story of the day, the Chiefs beating the Saints. Last week when you were home, before we had technical difficulties that knocked you off. Do you remember that? You have happy thoughts of that day, don't you?
No, I said
you
to
look
crash
like
things and
you look
break
like
things
you
that
look
day.
like Mr. Freeze. I said you look like Mr. Freeze because you had that blue.
Yes.
You look like Schwarzenegger in the
Right,
Batman movie.
Right.
The Mr. Freeze award, I've got to give it to Patrick Mahomes. We have to pray. Revolutionary what this guy does with the football in his hands. Because there were two moments yesterday that I noticed. And, of course, we're getting ready for a show. I'm on the phone. I'm getting dressed. We're rehearsing. There may have been more. But there were two that I saw that blew me away. There was a moment where he was running around behind the line of scrimmage, avoiding potential guys that would sack him. And he did this move where Cam Jordan just froze. I mean, it is like Patrick Mahomes has some sort of gun that he points at you and he presses the button and you freeze. Cam Jordan did not know what to do, and it was awesome. And the throw on the back end eclipsed that instant. It was just that quick little moment in time. But it was incredible what he did to Cam Jordan. I mean, Cam Jordan's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL.
That was the one where he threw it that he hit Sammy Watkins on the big completion down the field? Or
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That was amazing. You're right.
And then there was another one where, and this is just sandlot backyard stuff. He sees the opening, he runs to the line of scrimmage, and he knows he's going to keep running, and there's a guy 10 yards downfield, and even though Mahomes was past the line of scrimmage when he did it, he did a quick pump fake.
He turned and
the guy
acted. Yeah, I know.
And the guy jumped straight up in the air. Now, he didn't freeze,
right,
but he jumped straight up in the air, so you don't have to worry about that guy making the tackle. Mahomes just keeps going. It is just amazing to see what he can do instinctively. And that's where the playbook ends, the game plan ends, the scripted plays end, and it's just put a guy out there who has an uncanny skill set that this game hasn't seen. And it's a level of domination that you only see on a schoolyard. And we all have memories of that. The one kid that no one could catch, the one kid that could run circles around everyone and drive you crazy. That's Mahomes. You don't see that at the highest level of football. When you do, it's rare. And, I mean, not since Michael Vick. And for Vick, it was just straight ahead speed. With Mahomes, there's just this kind of strange elusiveness.
He's like Gumby.
No, he's not the fastest guy.
Yeah.
But the way he moves, it almost like puts people into a trance and they think they have a beat on him and then they don't. That's what makes that 30-yard sack last week even more stunning because he just knows. He knows where the opening is. He knows just how to hypnotize someone just in that instant to get by him. It's unbelievable. It really is.
No, it is.
And we need to appreciate it because it's not going to last forever. And hopefully there'll be more kids like him in the pipeline.
No. I think they're, like him, I don't know. But you're right. I mean, the game's going that way. And I think quarterbacks are more and more, doing that stuff. I'm even, like I've told you before, seeing kids doing it in flag football who are 10 years old. My little boy's running around like that and doing crap like that now. So, it's being indoctrinated into a lot of young kids. And Mike, that's why we talked about early on, and it's that ability that I think has given the pass protection a free pass lately where it hasn't been that great. But, he's fast enough to where he challenges you to where, oh, man, I got to run hard or he might turn the corner on me. But then he has great ability to kind of start and stop. And then you're worried about all the awkward throws. So if you're chasing him, you're going, man, I got to run hard to catch him. Wait, I better get my hands up because he might throw some sidearm laser beam right across my face or by my ear hole. And then you have to worry about him stopping and spinning out and doing all of that stuff. He's just got a lot of versatility in his moves, and he's just got, like you said, a great natural backyard feel for what to do, how to move, and make the throw. That's, pretty damn special.
And you just don't see it at the NFL level because they swarm to you. The athletes are so good that you don't get away with that stuff. They come get you, they catch you, they hit you, and you don't do it anymore.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.